Joining us now to discuss all of it, we have Catherine Christian, former Manhattan Assistant District Attorney and an MSNBC legal analyst, and Michael Hardaway, former Communications Director and spokesman for Congressman Hakeem Jeffries. Okay, we'll go ladies first here. Catherine, thank you for joining me, both of you. This hearing was called to substantiate the reasons for dropping these charges by the DOJ. So, give me a sense of what the judge is weighing.
The judge wants to make sure that there wasn't a quid pro quo, that it wasn't this dismissal without prejudice, which means you can bring the case back. It was not made in exchange for Adams' promise that I'll do whatever you want me to do, Donald Trump, when it comes to immigration policy, because that would be against the public interest. Barring that, judges don't really have discretion. Prosecutors can choose to charge or not charge, but judges aren't potted plants. They have a duty to make sure that whatever the prosecution is doing is just and is not against the public interest.
Would it be different if it was dismissed under a different set of circumstances?
Yeah, if the facts were, Your Honor, we have reviewed this case thoroughly and we have determined that we actually cannot prove the defendant's guilt beyond a reasonable doubt, and we are moving to dismiss with prejudice. But they didn't do that. The without prejudice really is the problem.
It's what they're doing.
Exactly.
So you have to wonder how would they go about proving that it isn't quid pro quo. But let me get to what Chief of Staff to our new Attorney General, Pam Bondi. This is Chad Mizell. Here's what he posted in a thread on X today, arguing that the legal theories underpinning the case were too expansive and that the indictment doesn't properly allege bribery. But Emil Bovee did not make these arguments in his letter to the SDNY, ordering them to dismiss the case, instead alleging the prosecution was politically motivated. Is there a grasping at justification here?
Well, now it's sort of now meaning the Department of Justice are probably saying, oops, maybe we should have been more thorough and not be so obvious about what happened. Because acting U.S. Attorney, former acting Sassoon, she basically made the allegation in writing. So is she making it up when she says that she believes it was a quid pro quo, or is there really something here?
So, Michael, how does the outcome potentially test how much the courts can delve into government motivations, right, for prosecutions and that kind of thing? I'm curious what the political impact could be here.
Well, it upends the entire system. If you're saying to me that the courts and prosecutors go through a process and any president can then parachute in and force them to change their decision, that is problematic, especially when it's only kind of a temporary reprieve for the mayor. He's under the thumb of the president, and I think that was made clear with that Fox News interview, which was incredibly uncomfortable and looked like a hostage situation.
Well, that's one way to look at it. I hadn't seen it described like that, but okay. So, Catherine, we have the acting Deputy Attorney General, Emil Bovee. He's in court today. They didn't just send a DOJ prosecutor or... What does that tell you?
You know what? He should be, because it was his memo directing Ms. Sassoon to drop this case, and he's the one who signed the motion that was ultimately filed. So bravo for him for actually being there.
Could he be called as a witness?
Well, he will be asked to speak on behalf of the government. So it's not really a hearing, and the judge is going to ask him pointed questions, and only he, quite frankly, can answer the questions. So it's good that he's the one who's appearing on behalf of DOJ.
Okay. Michael, Governor Hochul, as we know, met with a number of New York City leaders yesterday. She's facing growing calls to remove Mayor Adams from his position. What do you think the factors are that would shape her decision either way?
I think it's obviously politically sensitive. You have the second black mayor of New York City, and the visual there may look bad, but I think...
And that it's never been done.
And it's never been done.
I mean, come on,
however,
200 years.
However, you do have this incredibly uncomfortable situation, which is more about Donald Trump than it is the mayor. In an ancillary way, the Associated Press ran a piece today showing that 2/3 of people in New York City would support the governor if she chose to remove the mayor. And so I just don't know that you can keep the guy given the position he has put himself in.
I'm curious, Michael, because Mayor Adams, he's supposed to give some sort of a live interview later on this evening. He's going to take questions from New Yorkers about what's happening right now. What do you think his message is? What does it need to be? What does he need to say?
This is going to be bad. There's no real way he can get in front of a crowd of intelligent New Yorkers and say, despite what you've seen and despite the common sense you have, you should listen to me that I can be my own man and I can run this city with all of his issues. Because, by the way, outside of immigration, you've got sky-high prices, you've got unaffordable housing, you've got all these issues we need our mayor to address. He can't address those things with Donald Trump playing the Geppetto to his Pinocchio. That is a problem.
Listen, you were the former spokesperson to Congressman Hakeem Jeffries. How long can he stay out of this? He's been silent thus far.
I think he's done the right thing because he didn't want to weigh in based on a decision that was going to be made today. And so I think that's why you saw him hesitate from making the decision. I don't know what he's going to do post-decision, but I imagine that would free him to weigh in the way that he wants to.
Okay, Michael Hardaway, thank you so much. You, my friend, Catherine Christian, may not go too far. We're going to have you back in just a wee bit, and we'll see you again as well, Michael. Thank you.